don't know how it gets better than this. You'd take my hand, drag me head first, fearless.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's lesson about writing linear equations in slope-intercept form. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to both write and graph linear equations in slope-intercept form. You'll also know what the words y-intercept, linear equation, and slope-intercept form mean. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, here's the big deal. Slope-intercept form is a linear equation written in the form y equals mx plus b. It's important to know that m represents the slope and b represents the y-intercept. Remember that the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. The slope is the rate of change. It's the rise over the run. So, let's look at a couple equations and identify the slope and the y-intercept. So in example number 1, we are just identifying the slope and the y-intercept of the given equation. So here, my slope is the number that's with x, that's 5, and my y-intercept is the constant at the end, and that's negative 2. Let's look at another one. My slope is the coefficient of x in this problem, that's negative 1/2. The y-intercept is the constant, and that's 2/3. Okay, now that we can identify the slope and the y-intercept, now we should be able to write our own equation. So in example number 2, we're going to write an equation that has slope negative 4/5 and a y-intercept of negative 7. So we know that the equation is going to look like y equals mx plus b. All we need to do is substitute the slope in for m and the y-intercept in for b. So it'll look like this. Y equals negative 4/5 x plus 7. There you have it, the equation of a line written in slope-intercept form. All right, let's make it a little bit tougher now. In example number 3, I'm given 2 points. In order to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form, I need 2 pieces of information. I've got to know the slope, and I've got to know the y-intercept. First things first, I'll find the slope. Since I have 2 points, I can use the slope formula to find slope. So that'll be negative 8 minus 1 divided by 5 minus 2. Negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9, and 5 minus 2 is 3. That simplifies to be negative 3. So my slope here is negative 3. Now, to find the y-intercept, I'm going to use the form y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to plug in all the information that I know. So far, I have a point. I can choose either the point 2, 1 or the point 5, negative 8. I'm going to choose the point 2, 1. In that point, there's an x and a y coordinate. So I'm going to plug in x and y into my equation for slope-intercept, and I'm also going to plug in my slope. So watch what's left over. If I plug in 1 for y, I plug in negative 3 for my slope, I plug in 2 for x, the only thing left is b. So I'll solve this equation for b, and that'll tell me my y-intercept. So 1 equals negative 6 plus b. To solve, I add 6 to both sides. So b equals 7. That's my y-intercept. Now I have a slope and a y-intercept, and I can write it in slope-intercept form. So my final answer is y equals negative 3x plus 7. All right. How about looking at a line? Can we write the equation of this line in slope-intercept form? let's keep in mind the two pieces of information that I need. I need the slope and I need the y-intercept. Looking at the graph, I can identify the y-intercept by where it crosses the y-axis, right here. So my y-intercept is down here at -2. Now, to find the slope, I'm going to pick another point on my line that I can clearly see, like here. Now, I'm going to count. How do I get from this point up to the next point? So I'm going up 2 and over 1. So that means my slope is up 2 over 1, or just 2. So I now have a slope and a y-intercept. I'll write that in slope-intercept form as y equals 2x minus 2. There you go. Let's flip to the back and try another. Okay, now the last thing what we'll do is we'll graph equations in slope-intercept form. To make this problem a little bit more exciting, I'm going to change it just slightly and make it 2x plus 3. All right, to graph, I'm going to start at the y-intercept. Always want to start at the y-intercept. So that's here on the y-axis. I'm going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, from that point, I will move my slope. The slope here is 2. That tells me I'm going up 2 and over 1. So from this point, I'll move up 2, 1, 2, and over 1. I can continue in this pattern as long as I like. I can go up 2, over 1, up 2, over 1. Eventually, these points will make a line. I can also go down 2 and to the left 1. That'll result in a positive slope as well. Down 2 and to the left 1. Once I'm satisfied with the number of points I have, I'll go ahead and connect them, and we'll have a nice straight line. There you have it. All right, the last problem is an application problem. It says a plumber charges a $65 fee for a repair plus $35 per hour. Let's write an equation to model the total cost y of the repair that takes x hours. We won't worry about graphing at this point. All right, we can write this equation in slope-intercept form. Check it out. When we see $35 per hour, that's my rate. The rate is my slope. So in my equation, that's 35x. He charges a $65 fee. That's an initial fee, and that's where I'll start. So this represents the y-intercept. So the equation that models this situation is y equals 35x plus 65. All right, now it's your turn. Try the self-quiz and then check your answers. All right, the slope and the y-intercept of the equation shown. My slope is -1/5, and the y-intercept is 3. For number 2, the equation you should have written is y equals -3/4 x minus 5. In number 3, which equation represents the line shown? You needed to find the slope and the y-intercept. I like to do both of these visually if I have a graph. So the y-intercept here is 1, and the slope, to get from this point to the next, I have to go up 1 and over 2, so my slope is 1/2. My equation then is going to be 1/2 x plus 1. And in question number 4, I first need to find the slope, then I can find the y-intercept, and then I can write them in the equation of a line. So to find the slope, I am doing 6 minus -4 divided by 4 minus -1. That's 10 divided by 5, which is 2. So my slope here is 2. To find the y-intercept, I'm going to plug everything I know into y equals mx plus b. I'm going to choose the point 4, 6. So y is 6, my slope is 2, my x-coordinate is 4, and then I'm adding b. So 6 equals 8 plus b, and b equals -2. So my y-intercept is -2. My final answer then in slope-intercept form is y equals 2x minus 2. There you have it, folks. If you missed any questions on the self-quiz, make sure you go back and retry those questions. If not, come to class tomorrow ready to work. That's all for now.